To some, the name Jochen Rindt might not carry the same level of recognition as those of his 60s rivals, such as Jack Brabham, Jim Clark, Graham Hill or Sir Jackie Stewart. But those great champions all knew what a special racer Jochen was. His hard-charging attitude and incredible speed made him a thrilling driver to watch. And his tragic death at Monza in 1970 cut short what was one of the greatest racing careers of the era. But his legend lives on. Jochen was inspired to become a racer by watching German hero Wolfgang von Trips. In 1961, Jochen drove to the Nürburgring with his friend Helmut Marko to watch Trips in the German Grand Prix. It was there, age 19, that he decided he wanted to become a racing driver. A rebellious teenager, Jochen was no stranger to driving fast. But now, he was racing properly. He drove everything from touring cars to single-seaters, and his uncompromising style soon earned him a reputation for two things: winning or crashing. In 1964, he went to England, bought himself a Brabham F2 car, and in his second race at Crystal Palace, the unknown Austrian beat the great Graham Hill. He'd be crowned the king of F2 in the years that followed, but F1 was where he wanted to make his mark. He entered his first Grand Prix in 1964 at home in Austria. He retired from that race, but his star was rising, and in 1965 it shone brighter still when he drove a Ferrari to victory in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and then signed an F1 contract with Cooper. Even if his rides were sometimes second-rate, his audacious talent and commitment still wowed onlookers. In 1966, he scored 3 podiums, coming second in both Belgium and the United States, and third in Germany. Poor machinery meant he rarely troubled the leaders in the 2 years that followed. But his starring performances in F2, where all the best F1 drivers still also raced, convinced Lotus boss Colin Chapman, still grieving the loss of talisman Jim Clark, to sign Jochen for 1969. Jochen's pairing with the Lotus 49B seemed a match made in heaven, and he immediately outpaced his teammate, Graham Hill. He now had the tools to challenge for pole positions and race wins, but his relationship with Chapman was pushed to its limits. In Spain, Lotus's quick but fragile cars were exposed as wing failures sent Jochen and Hill's cars into the barriers, with Jochen lucky to escape with a broken nose and cheekbone. Voicing his concerns but never letting off the throttle, Jochen thrilled as he diced with Jackie Stewart in Britain before taking podiums in Italy and Canada. Then came the big breakthrough in the USA as he finally tasted the winner's champagne after another great duel with Stewart. A winner at last, Jochen was a man on a mission in 1970, winning 5 of the first 8 races to run away with the World Championship lead, including an extraordinary victory in Monaco where he pressured Jack Brabham into a famous last lap error. But alongside those triumphs, there was tragedy. In the space of 19 days amid that winning streak, Jochen's friends and fellow racers Piers Courage and Bruce McLaren were both killed in crashes. Married with a young daughter, those deaths were said to have had a profound impact. He considered retirement. Sadly, he never got the chance to walk away. During practice for the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, Rindt's Lotus inexplicably left the track and hit the guardrail at Parabolica, where he sustained fatal injuries. With tragic irony, the accident occurred just yards from where his own hero Wolfgang von Trips had died, chasing that same World Championship title 9 years earlier. In the races that followed, no one was able to surpass Rindt's points total, and so it was that he was crowned as F1's first, and thankfully only, posthumous world champion. His legacy is much more than that though. He was an outrageously skillful and courageous racer, with a great sense of humour, beloved by his fellow drivers. He was a man who could transcend the limits of his vehicle, who loved to push the limits and make the seemingly impossible look possible. A champion taken too soon, but never forgotten, even by those who never had the fortune of watching him race.
I've always had a crush on Jochen, so I'm not sure why, but I think there was just the element of something that I admire. It's a shame in that regard that I was never able to meet him, but I had the privilege to meet people that knew him, whether it's Helmut, who spent time with him, driving any type of car up and down the Austrian forests. Must have been a very, very special man, because so many people speak so highly of him. So the fact that he was able to win the World Championship will make him immortal. He will always be remembered. But I'm sure if he had lived longer, then there would be a lot more people mentioning his name. The talent was outstanding, combined with his very special way in terms of the personality. I think it was a real loss for Formula One.